question raised by a voter in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, a woman by the name of Nash McCabe.
Senator Obama, I have a question, and I want to know if you believe in the American flag. I am not questioning your patriotism, but all our servicemen, policemen, and EMS wear the flag. I want to know why you don't.
Just to add to that, I noticed you put one on yesterday, but you've talked about this before, but it comes up again and again when we talk to voters, and as you may know, it is all over the internet. And it's something of a theme that Senators Clinton and McCain's advisors agree could give you a major vulnerability if you're the candidate in November. How do you convince Democrats that this would not be a vulnerability?
Well, look, I revere the American flag, and I would not be running for president if I did not revere this country. I would not be standing here if it wasn't for this country. And I've said this again, there's no other country in which my story is even possible. Somebody who was born to a teenage mom, raised by a single mother and grandparents from small towns in Kansas, who was able to get an education and rise to the point where I can run for the highest office in the land. I could not help but love this country for all that it's given me. And so what I've tried to do is to show my patriotism by how I treat veterans when I'm working in the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, by making sure that I'm speaking forcefully about how we need to bring this war in Iraq to a close, because I think it is not serving our national security well, and it's not serving our military families and our troops well. Talking about how we need to restore a sense of economic fairness to this country, because that's what this country has always been about, is providing upward mobility and ladders to opportunity for all Americans. That's what I love about this country. And so I will continue to fight for those issues. And I am absolutely confident that during the general election, that when I'm in a debate with John McCain, people are not going to be questioning my patriotism. They're going to be questioning, how can you make people's lives a little bit better? And let me just make one last point on this issue of the flag pin. As you noted, I wore one yesterday when a veteran handed it to me, who himself was disabled and works on behalf of disabled veterans. I have never said that I don't wear flag pins or refuse to wear flag pins. This is the kind of manufactured issue that our politics has become obsessed with, and once again distracts us from what should be my job when I'm Commander-in-Chief, which is going to be figuring out how we get our troops out of Iraq and how we actually make our economy better for the American people.
Senator, if you get the nomination, you have to beat back these distractions. I want to give Senator Clinton a chance to respond, but first to follow up on this issue, general theme of patriotism in your relationships. A gentleman named William Ayers. He was part of the Weather Underground in the 1970s. They bombed the Pentagon, the Capitol, and other buildings. He's never apologized for that. And in fact, on 9/11, he was quoted in the New York Times saying, "I don't regret setting bombs. I feel we didn't do enough." An early organizing meeting for your state Senate campaign was held at his house, and your campaign has said you're friendly. Can you explain that relationship for the voters and explain to Democrats why it won't be a problem?
George, but this is an example of what I'm talking about. This is a guy who lives in my neighborhood, who's a professor of English in Chicago, who I know and who I have not received some official endorsement from. He's not somebody who I exchange ideas from on a regular basis. And the notion that somehow, as a consequence of me knowing somebody who engaged in detestable acts 40 years ago when I was 8 years old, somehow reflects on me and my values doesn't make much sense, George. The fact is that I'm also friendly with Tom Coburn, one of the most conservative Republicans in the United States Senate, who during his campaign once said that it might be appropriate to apply the death penalty to those who carried out abortions. Do I need to apologize for Mr. Coburn's statements? Because I certainly don't agree with those either. So this kind of game in which anybody who I know, regardless of how flimsy the relationship is somehow their ideas could be attributed to me. I think the American people are smarter than that. They're not going to suggest somehow that that is reflective of my views, because it obviously isn't.
Well, I think that is a fair general statement, but I also believe that Senator Obama served on a board with Mr. Ayers for a period of time, the Woods Foundation, which was a paid directorship position. And if I'm not mistaken, that relationship with Mr. Ayers on this board continued after 9/11 and after his reported comments, which were deeply hurtful to people in New York. And I would hope to every American, because they were published on 9/11, and he said that he was just sorry they hadn't done more. And what they did was set bombs, and in some instances people died. So it is, you know, I think it is, again, an issue that people will be asking about, and I have no doubt. I know Senator Obama is a good man, and I respect him greatly, but I think that this is an issue that certainly the Republicans will be raising. And it goes to this larger set of concerns about, you know, how we are going to run against John McCain. You know, I wish the Republicans would apologize for the disaster of the Bush-Cheney years and not run anybody. Just say that it's time for the Democrats to go back into the White House. Unfortunately, they don't seem to be willing to do that. So we know that they're going to be out there full force. And, you know, I've been in this arena for a long time. I have a lot of baggage, and everybody has rummaged through it for years. And so therefore, I have, you know, an opportunity to come to this campaign with a very strong conviction and feeling that I will be able to withstand whatever the Republicans send our way.
I'm going to have to respond to this just really quickly, but by Senator Clinton's own vetting standards, I don't think she would make it, since President Clinton pardoned or commuted the sentences up to members of the Weather Underground, which I think is a slightly more significant act than me serving on a board with somebody for actions that he did 40 years ago. Look, there is no doubt that the Republicans will attack either of us. What I've been able to display during the course of this primary is that I can take a punch. I've taken some pretty good ones from Senator Clinton. And I don't begrudge her that. That's part of what the political contest is about. I am looking forward to having a debate with John McCain, and I think every poll indicates that I am doing just as well, if not better, in pulling together the coalition that will defeat John McCain. And when it comes to November and people are going into the polling place, they're going to be asking, are we going to go through 4 more years of George Bush economic policies? Are we going to go through 4 more years of George Bush foreign policy? And if we have Democrats, and if I, as the nominee, have put forward a clear vision for how we're going to move the country forward, deal with issues like energy dependence, lower gas prices, provide health care, get our troops out of Iraq, that is a debate that I'm happy to have, and a debate that I'm confident I can win.
And Senator Clinton, I'm getting out of balance in terms of time, and you're getting shortchanged here. And so if you want to reply here, fine. If you want to wait, we'll do it the next half hour.
We can wait.
All right. We'll take a commercial break. We will come back. And the Democratic debate from the